Good morning, everybody. Hello. Welcome to our webinar today. We're delighted that you could join us. We're going to talk about trade shows. They're so important and they're back with a vengeance. But they're big, they're heavy investments. We've got to get them right. So we're so glad you could spend some time with us today and be here with us and talk about trade shows. We know that you're time is precious. We know that you are busy people, so we've packed as much as we can into this. And but now is also your time to ask questions. Ask the questions that you've always been too busy to ask. So, without further ado, let's introduce ourselves while the last of you are still logging on. So, I'm delighted today to be with Hector. Hector Rodriguez. He's based in Las Vegas, capital of the trade show world. So Hector can tell us a lot about trade shows, the do's, the don'ts, the challenges, the pitfalls, and how to get really successful in that. All the experience that the U.S. Commercial Service have, and the helping hand that U.S. Commercial Service can be to exporters especially. Myself, my name is Susanna Hardy, and I'm Chief Content Officer at IBT Online. IBT Online is a private company. We're a private company, and basically what we do, what do we do? We do websites and we do online marketing. We do best practice websites, whether it's e-commerce enabled or for distributors, whatever it is, we're there for that. And all the online marketing, from full stack online marketing, from everything from SEO to deep social listening and everything in between. But we are known for our international. We are known because we are helping America's exporters. So those international websites that really help you grow your business and grow your sales internationally. So that's what there's lots to see on our website. And on the next slide, for example, I've got just a video. You can always go and see it more yourself if you want, and check out our website. As I said, we're known really for expanding an exporter's reach globally across markets using online tools. We've been doing this for quite a long time and have a lot of experience with that. One thing that we've developed is the online global programs. These are programs that are developed within various U.S. states, and they are designed for exporters to help exporters reach international markets through their websites and their online marketing tools. And we are also very, very proud to have signed a strategic partnership agreement with U.S. Commercial Service to be their strategic partner for e-commerce. So it's us and Amazon for U.S. Commercial Service, International Trade Administration of the Department of Commerce of the U.S., helping America's exporters. There's tons of stuff as well on our website, but let's talk about what we're going to, focus on what we're doing today. As I said, we've packed a lot in today, so we're going to sort of go through it quite sort of, quickly. You will have a recording of the webinar. If you want the slide deck as well, ping me an email. We'll send it to you. Happy to do that. So, we're going to talk a little bit about sort of, what trade shows are going on at the moment. What are the big trends going on at the moment? And we're really going to dive into sort of the trade show before, during, and after. What are the must-haves for those preparation time before you go? What do you need to know? What do you have to do during the trade show? What works really well? What doesn't? How do you have to act? Where do you have to be? What kind of things do you use to get really well on that during the trade show? And then once the trade show is over, once the curtain falls, what do? Is there still work to be done? Yes. And then we've got some time at the end for takeaways, next steps, and questions. As I said, put your questions in. Now, before we go all that, Hector is going to be talking about U.S. Commercial Service and help that the U.S. Commercial Service give to exporters on trade shows. And let's first see, though, let's ask ourselves a very basic question. Why do we even go to these trade shows? Why do we like these trade shows? They're crowded, expensive, old-fashioned. You have to sleep in a horrible hotel, which is overpriced. What is this about? Why do we do this? And why have we been doing this for so many years? Why is it still popular today? Well, I guess the main reason is we are social beings. Human beings are sociable. We like being around each other. And trade shows have seen the test of time. They have proven themselves to be pretty amazing accelerators for a buyer's journey, for that life cycle which salespeople like to sort of put into different categories. The typical, the most obvious ones that one talks about is these awareness, consideration, evaluation, and purchase, the buyer's journey. And the trade show really acts as an accelerator, as I said. You're able to not just see all their types of buyers that you have from early stage right up until that end existing client. All the different types of buyers are there at a trade show, and you can accelerate that process by getting them to be aware of you, considering your product, looking at competition, and purchasing all around your booth, all around your central area. So that's why people really like trade shows, because they can be this accelerator for your business and for your for how you're doing business. We're going to get back and talk about this buyer's life cycle or buyer's journey a couple of times during this webinar. But trade shows are back, but they're different. Quite different. Now, even before the pandemic, people, there was a decrease in the number of people going to trade shows even before 2020. And even now, they're still about sort of 10-15% below the pre-pandemic level. But they're definitely back. And at the time, 2020, 21, we were thinking, oh, it's all going to go virtual. We're no longer going to do, no, people want to be face to face. And it's important. You learn things when you look someone in the eye and you shake their hands, say, let's do business together. That is a very, very strong way of building trust. And it's important, that face-to-face, that physical contact. So definitely trade shows are back, but they're different, as I said. I think a lot of trade shows these days, and especially all the larger ones and all the international ones, have a hybrid component. The more and more parts of the trade show are happening during the trade show online. So the whole online emphasis, the tools you need to have in your toolkit when you're doing trade shows have expanded. You need to have serious good websites that can perform and work hard for you during those trade shows. You need to have social media content and social media outreach before, during, and after the trade shows to really optimize it these days. Some of the other big trends that we're seeing, and this also comes from data that we're seeing from Hannover Messe, Frankfurter Messe, some of the largest trade show organizers in the world, higher costs. And the higher costs of everything, the higher costs of the hotels, of the transport, but also of the shows and the booths. And that means also that a lot of people are being much more selective about which kind of trade show and where they're going to get the biggest return on. So they might go to fewer trade shows and invest more into those ones. As I said, we are seeing more technology involved in trade shows these days, not just your online tools like your websites and your marketing, but more and more interactive and immersive experiences during the trade show. The booths that are getting the most attention are the ones that are kitted out with the most bells and whistles. I'm signaling out videos because that's something that small mid-cap companies can really leverage to really boost their brand awareness. And we'll talk about that a couple of times in this presentation today. So I think what our thought really was that we said in the previous slide that contact helps move the buyer along the buyer's journey. Digital strategies help you connect and make more contact with your buyer. That's why they're important during these trade shows. That's why they're really good. So if they're more expensive, and if you have to be more selective, the key then is making sure that you have the right ROI, the right return on investment. And there are two ways to make sure that the trade shows are worth it. There are two ways of measuring it. There's the classic way, which is return on investment. So basically your conversions. How many meetings, touch points, whatever it is, converted to actual dollar sales. That's return on investment. This trade show cost me this much. That's how many sales I got. That's my ROI. There's also something called return on experience. And this is really about brand awareness. It's less quantifiable, but you can measure it through things like likes, outreach, number of people added to database, all those things that have brand awareness engagement to it. Very much more a sort of marketing metric rather than the return on investment or sales. I wanted to give you, a lot of people say, well, how do I measure return on investment? What's a good way of doing it for a trade show? It seems difficult. On the one side, I know that I got some sales out of it, but how do I actually measure it? So I wanted to give you a little sort of cheat sheet, as it were. This is something that quite a few of the big organizers use in terms of their own internal return on investment. So I thought I'd share it with you. Step one, figure out the costs. What is your budget? How much did it all cost? And cost is something like the booth, but it's also travel, your hotels, shipping the equipment over, printing materials, all that stuff. And then there's some hidden costs, the time it takes for management. Put a dollar value on it. The opportunity cost, you're doing that and not doing this. Put a dollar value on that and have all that as your budget. If you're unsure of that, a rough rule of thumb is 3 times the cost of the booth. And that's very much a sort of rough guidance to show you sort of, that's the budget, the cost of the that you're going to be working on to figure out your return on investment. Step 2, figure out what return on investment you need to satisfy your boss. What is the necessary return on investment in order to justify all of that budget? Again, a rule of thumb, we would expect 5 times the cost to be an adequate and good return on investment for a trade show. That's what we have when we're working for our clients and working hard for them to get good results in a trade show. That's the target that we use. So 5 times the total, that big budget, that big cost, 5 times is your aimed at projected ROI. And then how do you get that? That's the step. How do you measure? How do you get that sales necessary? So let's say your cost of your booth is, say, $15,000. So total cost of your trade show is $45,000. So the net sales you need to have $225,000, for example. That's sort of the ballpark figures that you would look at to get a projected good ROI on that. Right. So I'm going to leave you with that. That's just sort of a little cheat sheet that you can take away with as well. But let's now talk. Let's let Hector talk through U.S. commercial service and see all the things that U.S. commercial service do to help America's exporters. Hector.
Hi. Yes, thank you. I appreciate the introduction. I'll reintroduce myself real quick. Hector Rodriguez. I am based here in Las Vegas. Hence why I'm a presenter today for trade shows. So I've been with the Department of Commerce for 15 years now, and 10 of those years I've been working on trade shows. Suzanne asked me how many trade shows have I attended, and I did the math, 10 years and between 10 and 15 shows per year. So a little over 100 trade shows that I've been a part of. And not just walking the show floor, it's more of here at Commerce, we created a trade show strategy so we can be more efficient. And I'm going to showcase some of the things that we do and how they can assist you as a company when you're either exhibiting or walking the show floor as an attendee. But one thing that I did learn, as in my case, I go year after year, going to a trade show, I have to be prepared. And the same goes for any exhibitor and attendee. Be prepared. That way, you know what your goals are, what your intentions are. And as Susanna mentioned, what's your return on investment, figuring all that out. Let's move to the next slide. Okay, here's a sampling. You might recognize a few of these. These are domestic and international trade shows that we support. And when I say support, we have working with the show organizer to provide value-added services to exhibitors and in some cases attendees. You'll see CES occurs in Las Vegas. We just had it here a couple of weeks ago. Smart Cities, that's in Barcelona, Spain. Susanna mentioned Hanover Messe. We support that show as well. And even Inlet Africa to the far right, which is the screen, you'll see that that one occurs in South Africa, an energy trade show. So the list is a sampling of industries. Uh, the list below the shows is all our global teams and regional teams that support these trade shows. You can see it's agribusiness, advanced manufacturing, and so on. These are the teams that we have with the Department of Commerce that we work for that industry, in support of the industry, whether it's a trade show or market intelligence. In 2023, we supported 58 trade shows within the US and internationally. As I mentioned, each show is supported by our global teams. And if you look at, well, it's not there, but we also have 4 regional teams for Europe, Africa, Trade Americas, Asia, and China. So just to give you a taste of, those are the teams that work on trade shows. And then you'll learn, the next slide, we'll talk about the value add and who's actually behind the scenes. So in this slide, it's the value add to exhibitors, attendees, and local businesses. These are just 3 of our stakeholders during trade shows. With these 3, we do aim to maximize our engagement to provide the services that are requested, and each one is a little different. As an example, the picture on the left just occurred. This is World of Concrete a few weeks ago. We did partner with the industry, and we do have at every show, we do have an international trade center or international business center. This is our HQ there, our area to facilitate meetings for delegates to meet US companies. Sometimes it's a quieter area. And it's also a rest area for international delegates and the US companies that come to visit them. So we encourage our delegates to utilize the space for everything related to their business dealings when they go to a trade show. So this one right here is World of Concrete. We had about 15, 20 of my colleagues attending and about 700 buyer delegates. That's a pretty big number. It's not pre-pandemic number. I think the 2019 and 18, it was about 800 or 900, but we're getting really close to those numbers. Let's see, the picture on the right just happened. This was at CES. This is an event that we had, a site visit. We had over 150 attendees, international delegates, about 20 of my colleagues for that night, Las Vegas exporters and the Las Vegas community as well. So the value add, you can see the 6 points that I put there. We recruit for every show between 200 and 1,000 buyer delegates. For CES, we had 800 this a few weeks ago in January. Pre-pandemic, we had 1,200. So every year we're getting more and more delegates coming to the US. As I mentioned, in Las Vegas, we support roughly 10 shows. So at an average of 500 buyer delegates, we're bringing to Las Vegas, just Las Vegas alone, 5,000 buyer delegates for this one location. Keep in mind, there's Florida, Chicago, California, and then smaller venues across the US that we also have trade shows. Point number 2 is B2B matchmaking. This is straight buyer delegates wanting to buy a product, a solution, or a service from a US company. So we find out what they're looking for, and we match them with the US exhibitors and or attendees that have engaged with us that are looking for those type of maybe they're looking for a distributor, direct sale, maybe government sales, whatever it may be. That's the B2B matchmaking that we provide. And we do this, we started a couple years ago doing this pre-show as well. We found it being more beneficial that they start engaging early, and that way when they go to the show, the trade show, it's more of a second meeting of sense. Uh, and so the third point, government to business matchmaking. These meetings are our colleagues, my colleagues, that are bringing buyer delegations from their respective country. They're a U.S. Embassy employee, Department of Commerce, just like me. They just live there. I live here, and their job is to provide insight to the market for the companies that are interested in either entering or expanding into that region. We also have country market overviews and seminars. Some take place before the show, and some take place after. And as I mentioned, the site visits, like the picture in the slide, some of them are at a company location, or in this case, we also kind of we had. If you look in the picture in the far back, you'll see a red banner. That banner is the university, 3 universities there. That one, the banner is from UNLV. They were looking for international delegates, students that are interested in coming to the United States. So we showcased the universities and a few others, local exporters. That way, delegates can walk around the area and engage with businesses that were there. Instead of usually at site visits, people kind of stick together because maybe their language is not great, or they're embarrassed, or we try to, with this, spread them out and visit local companies. Let's see, and then probably the most important one is number 6. At a show, when you meet me, or you visit, or one of my colleagues goes to your booth, it's very important to be introduced to your local trade specialists. I, you know, I assist companies that are in Southern Nevada, but if you're from Denver, Colorado, New York, then there's a me that's over there that works in their local community. And the reason it's important to meet the local person, even though you're going to want to work with me because I'm just that good, but you want to meet with my colleague because they are great as well. They're professional, but they have the local insight of the community. I don't know what's going on in New York, right? I don't know if there's grants available for exporting for that specific state. I know it for Nevada. So it's very important to be introduced to local trade specialists and let him or her go up to bat for you. That's why we're here. We're at these shows to meet you, so you know about the services that we're providing, and let us go up to bat for you when you're trying to enter or expand into a new market. Next slide. And this is a map of who is providing the service. The map on the global map shows my colleagues that are at U.S. embassies, our U.S. consulates, and colleagues from State Department as well that provide these services that are coming to Las Vegas or other states to bring buyer delegations. They market the trade show in their respective markets. They recruit the potential buyer delegates to attend the show. Once they have the delegates, then they vet them and bring them here to the trade shows. The goal for the delegates to buy from U.S. companies, very simple. Whether it's a product, solution, or service, as long as a product, solution, or service contains 51% U.S. content, in the eyes of the federal government, it's a U.S. product, and we can assist you. The pictures on the right, you guys might recognize the Missouri landscape there. Like I mentioned, I'm based in Vegas and I cover Southern Nevada, but my colleague Warren, he's based in St. Louis. He covers all of the state of Missouri and the metro counties of the Illinois side of the river. I mentioned Denver, Colorado. My colleague there covers Colorado and the state of Wyoming. So it all depends on where we're located and how we can assist. Next slide. Behind the trade curtain. This is a little sampling I pulled. I picked Waste Expo just because I know it well. It's one of the first trade shows. It's actually the first trade show I worked on in 2014. And then I wanted you to see the numbers for CES. If you look at the Waste Expo, it has 421 exhibitors in comparison to CES 1052. This was 2018 information. Right now, I think CS has 2,000 or 4,000. It's a lot of exhibitors. But it shows, for Waste Expo, 421 exhibitors. That is way too many exhibitors to try to assist. One wouldn't even know where to start. So the first thing we do um, with the exhibitor list is compare it with our own database. Who is our client? And when I say client, it's a companies that have been identified as 51% US content, and we're assisting them somewhere in the world. Uh, so you can look at the numbers for SF, which means Salesforce. We have 185 companies that are exhibiting that are also our client. 44% of those exhibiting are existing client of ours. So that's a really good number to work with. And again, even 185 is still a lot. So what we do and it's pretty simple. For my colleagues who are traveling internationally, who are coming here, those 185, we divide out by, as the example below, 15 industry experts. Those are my colleagues that are coming from our US embassies and consulates, right? And you divide them out. There's 12 exhibitors, each they could visit. And that way we make sure that my 15 colleagues are not visiting the same company over and over again throughout the 3 days of Waste Expo. So this is a way to make sure that we at least visit the 185 that are our existing clients. And then in ISF, there's 109. Those exhibitors we haven't yet identified, and we don't know if they're a US company. Even if they're a US company, they might not want our services, or they might be an international company with a US address. So the domestic team, like myself, would go out to these companies. We'll divide it out as well between the domestic team, and we will go visit these 109 companies, or attempt to, and uh, I identify them in whichever bucket they fall in, and we utilize that information for future years. So that's just one of the ways that behind the scenes that we work. And this is all done pre-show. We don't go to the show and start trying to look at which one's US, which one's not. This is done months before to um, give to engage with these 185 exhibitors at Waste Expo, and post pandemic, a lot of these companies um, people have moved on to other companies. The emails don't exist. So a lot of turnover that we have to make sure that when we visit them, to ask them for the updated international business development person, or the CEO, or whoever that may be, who's handling international trade. Next slide. This is one thing, and we're government, so we're always a little behind. However, we are using QR codes, and this is just an example. When a buyer delegate arrives, and I've seen this tons here in Las Vegas. They arrive, and their boss sent them, said, "Hey, go find distributors, go find this XYZ product," and they don't have they don't know where to start. So under this U.S. exporter QR code, and we have more, we subdivide them out by category. So if they're at World of Concrete and they're looking for diamond blade saws, then we have machinery subcategory that we'll give to them, and they can visit those 10 companies versus, as you saw, there's 421 exhibitors, right? So they have a more efficient way of going and visiting these, identifying the company and being more efficient on the show floor. Same thing with the attendees, U.S. companies who we've engaged with, and they're looking for, maybe they're interested in the Philippines. Well, we have the buyer delegates as a whole, and then we have it divided out by countries. That way, if you're interested in the Philippines, you can engage with these buyers specifically, and in some cases, if they do it early, they can meet them at the International Business Center or the Trade Center, as per the prior slide with the picture. So that's just one way that when people are not prepared, we kind of give them a, but we have to know who you are. I mean, we're not giving out these lists to everyone. As long as you're a U.S. company, we brought you to the from your respective country, you have access to this information. And what's on here, it's public information. It's just a basic for the U.S. company, company name, booth number, website, things like that that are easy to click on and see if that's something of interest for you. Next slide. This one was actually pretty interesting. I was trying to see the pitfalls in my head, and I said, I wonder what Google would think, right? So I Googled pitfalls of trade shows, and if I highlighted the ones that matched my write-ups, of course, the first one for Google search was exhibiting at the wrong trade show. I've met exhibitors who have exhibited at the wrong trade show, and they're pretty much um, sad. Uh, if they're international, then I said, hey, doesn't matter. You met me. This is, this is we're gonna be fine, right? So I've tried to manage those situations, but of course, doing our research helps. But not setting goals, Google search was equivalent to um, which one is it? Not bringing the decision makers for the goals you set, which includes on the Google search, not bringing the A team. The A team, I don't think that's the correct for us. It's not the correct person. The A team could be a very charismatic person, but not the decision maker. If you're doing international trade, the decision maker has to be there. They have to be in the room. Otherwise, the business card that people pass out or the model that they hire to give out stuff is not going to cut it. These buyer delegates are not going to stop, and they're savvy just like you are. So you have to bring the decision maker, not really the A team. I also put not allowing the federal government to market you to buyer delegates. I think that's a very important one. Our teams get together 6 to 8 months before the show. We're working 6 to 8 months on all this background information and setting up, whatever seminars, presenters, matchmaking, all behind the scenes. I think that's probably the one that really hurts you, because when you come to us the day of, it's too late. These delegates are running around trying to find their solutions, and we can access the U.S. company, but the buyer delegate is always difficult to corral. We don't know what their full agenda is. They might want to go to the Hoover Dam. We get a lot of requests there because for World of Concrete, because they want to see, how it was made and just the structure. Even World of Concrete, they have a lot of buses that take them out there because that's one of the big things they want to do. But if they don't get to go on day one, they're probably going to go on day 3 and they're not going to be around. So just keep that in mind, that you let us market you. It's free. We're doing it for a lot of companies. Why not you? And then the last one, again, I put not utilizing us there, the 20 to 40. We're colleagues that are there at the show. We're there to support you, to get you into those countries, to even give you the information that maybe a country is not for you. Our colleagues are there with that information. Have a 20-minute conversation with them and enter or expand into the country in the future, or at least now that that country is not, doesn't make sense, for your solution. And then the last thing, of course, not connecting with your local trade specialists. When I do meet companies, they're pretty at the show. They're very excited. They're like, that makes a lot of sense. We want to do it. But then not following up with your local trade specialists. We have 101 companies that we're assisting. As an example, here in Las Vegas, we have 3 trade specialists, director and 2 trade specialists, to cover all the industries that Southern Nevada has to offer. So we're really reactive. I mean, it's sad to say, but we have so many questions, so many companies that are looking to export internationally, that um, it's this is an area where um, we don't really need to, and we still do. We still give presentations just like today, but we don't have to go out and get clients. The clients are already coming to us. They go to our websites. They're talking to IBT. Like they're being funneled to us, and they're being funneled to a lot of course, across the U.S. So, um, but if you don't connect with your local trade specialists, out of sight, out of mind, we can't help you if we don't know what's in your head until we have a conversation with you, and then we can develop a game plan. And that's really it. Uh, you know, we're here and happy to assist, and I'm grateful that we have a partnership with IBT.
Hector, thank you so much. But before we dive into the before, during, and after of that, I wanted to launch a poll. Like, have you just to ask everybody, are you attending big trade shows this year? Have you already attended them? Are you attending more than ever? Very few, but very choosy. Oh, let me give you some feedback. First of all, I want to say a major big thank you to everybody for being, you're a big audience today, by the way, and you're all being really reactive. So I appreciate that very much. Just give you some, you're still tapping away, but basically, a lot of you are being pretty choosy about what trade shows you're attending. So that definitely concurs with what we're seeing as well. But there's a good handful of you that are attending more than ever. I'm going to end the poll, but thank you very much for that. And there's a couple more polls there. That helps us sort of go out a little bit more. So let's now talk about, know before you go. Let's talk about what it is you need to really have in your pocket. And I put this basically to say you need to create buzz. and Hector was talking a little about that preparation. They start months in advance. For our clients and what we're doing, we talk about sort of a good 6 weeks, 8 weeks in advance. And the core of it is the preparation is implementing a really targeted marketing strategy. That's basically using your website, your online tools, your website, your social media, especially, are the two tools that are going to really have to be working hard for you in tandem. I've added as well this sort of, videos, because videos are something we're going to talk about a couple of times. I mentioned already during this presentation as sort of like a real booster that you can use to sort of spice up and really engage with your audience. But the lead up to the event is so crucial for your company's success. I think, as Hector has mentioned, that you need to maximize all that buzz, that create that thing. It's no good going to a trade show with sort of an empty pocket. I'm going to just meet people at the booths. It doesn't work well. It will not get you the sales you need to justify all that cost. So with any successful marketing strategy, you have to identify what platforms, what your target buyer persona is, where he is, how he's structured, all of that. And that's why it takes a good 6 weeks in advance, a good 6 weeks, if not more, if you can possibly do that. Making sure that your website and your social media is happening. Before we drill down into the details of that, I just wanted to highlight one thing. A lot of companies don't even tell their internal teams that they're actually going to a trade show. And it's, remember, tell your colleagues, tell the sales team, tell the marketing team, tell the product team, tell everybody, by the way, we're going to a trade show. And they'll say, oh, can you go and see our supplier? Oh, can you go and see this as a prospect has come in? Oh, can you go and see that? Suddenly that fills up, that's a good way of just starting out your activity list. Now let's look at your website. Your website is really your best sales rep. It's what's there working 24/7 for you all the time, and it can help you get traction for any upcoming event like a trade show. If you got into a trade show, stick a banner on it that says we're meet us there. Here's our booth number. Your trade show has got lots of different areas for content on it. You can even invent or create new content about the trade show to show that you're, quite a thought leader, that you've got a lot to say about this. So, create event specific content like blogs or posts or things like that. You might want to also look at your search engine optimization, your SEO. What keywords are you using? People before an event are looking for people in your own sector that are going to that event. Well, highlight it. They will also find you if you highlight it correctly. So if you're highlighting on your website that you're going to that event, that you're a thought leader on that subject matter, that you have expertise, and that you are reaching out and have the right keywords, people who are looking to search for that trade show will find you. So that's when worth thinking about. I've put in there as well backlinks. Backlinks are sort of a long-term strategy that websites and people on online marketing work for, but trade shows are a great opportunity to create backlinks and backlink strategy. Backlinks help your domain authority. It helps the domain authority of your website. So it's a really good time to get good backlinks. Get the organizer of the show to connect to your website. Boom, you've got some of that instant domain authority to your website. Moving on, once your website's up there and powering, you need a really good social media approach. It's in social media, and is like all online marketing. It's all about detail, 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 which means that you're able to reach the right person with the right message at the right time. And again, remember that image I had at the beginning when I'm talking about the awareness journey, the buyer's journey of awareness, engagement, consideration, purchase. That's building up the brand awareness using this very structured approach to say, hi, we're at this trade show. Come and join us. Here's our booth number. Book a meeting. All those calls to action as well that are so necessary on your online marketing in today's world. And obviously, you've figured out already from the start where your buyer is. Is he using LinkedIn? Is he using Facebook? Is he using WhatsApp? What platform is he in? How is he building? How is he connecting to you? All those things you figured out in advance. That's where you're looking at the right message at the right time. So that's that very structured social media approach, which is so necessary. One of the things that really helps as well, right from the start of any marketing, especially for trade shows, is figuring out your content and a content calendar. Content calendars will help you organize content as you move closer and closer to the event. And you can even basically prepare content for the during and after event. Once you organize your content correctly, you've got, if you do it at the beginning of that 6 weeks, it then becomes no work at all. It's just, yeah, okay, now's the time to launch. I prepared it in advance. Now I push the send button, and it's all there. Again, when we're doing this for clients, that's what it's all about. It's making sure it's all there, ready to go in advance. And then once it's there, we can repurpose, reuse, change it a little bit, and relaunch it during and even after the event. So this becomes a highly optimal way of using content, and even perhaps morphing it into something more regular on your website, on your social media strategies for future engagements. I've listed a couple of things there. This basically also this notion of organic and paid content campaigns. They work in a very symbiotic way, so it's a pretty good idea to have the two working in tandem. You can't only rely on organic these days anymore. You need to have a paid, but you can go pretty light on paid these days. $100, $200 will get you actually some leverage on Google Ad. I want to switch back again to this notion of videos and the power of videos. Videos these days are not expensive. Anyone with a really good iPhone, mine is not a very good iPhone, it's just an iPhone, with a good iPhone can make a good video these days. It's not that hard. So, and it is easy to use. It's a fun tool to have. People prefer to watch a video than read a text. They prefer to see that. It works really well for international audiences, and you can really reach a very big audience. You can put it on YouTube, you can put it on LinkedIn, you can use it on lots of different types of platforms. And I will have a moment later on to give you some tips about really good video creation for the event itself. Let's talk quickly now about about the show must go on. The what do you do during the trade show? You've set everything up. You've prepared it. You've driven traffic to your website. You've got good calls to action leading you to meetings. You've prepared everything. You've obviously contacted Hector and his team at US Commercial Service to help you with that as well. Right. Then let's see what happens when you go. I think the very first thing that we have, similar in a sense really to what Hector was talking about, was about your goals. Trade show goals. What are your trade show goals? And how are you going to measure them? Again, I'm going to hark back to that image at the beginning when we talked about awareness, engagement, consideration, and purchase. And in many ways, the goals you have for a trade show mirror those. The awareness is about growing your brand awareness, and that can be over several years. You can say, all right, hey, this is a long-term goal. I'm starting here. Over the next year, I want to be here. I want to be there. And so you have a long-term goal in that. And trade shows have play a vital role in there. You also want to make sure that your products are seen in the best possible light, so that there's an engagement with that product, that the people are seeing it and even considering it, and therefore looking at possibly buying it, so that you can turn your leads into these long-term satisfying clients. So it's really about making a first impression, making a lasting impression, and then capturing that wider network and plugging it into your CRM and so on. So those are some of the things that are so important to have for that. And so how do we achieve all these? How do we achieve these goals? Let's look at your event strategy. So your strategy is really, again, just looking at the online side. One of the things we create is a bespoke landing page. So a landing page is really, as it says on the tin, it is a page on your website that can be affiliated with your website, just dedicated to this event. It's where you're going to bounce all the advertising and the marketing off. It's a page all about the event. It's easy to read. It's fast. It's got good calls to action. It's got a calendar invite, perhaps. It shows your booth. It has all the information that a potential client needs to see about the event and your participation in the event. So it's a landing page about this event. We'll talk about how you can reuse those afterwards too. These are very profitable things to have. Then after that, you're going to use your social media during the event. A lot of that can be prepared in advance, but the best of social media, the most effective, is the one that you're going to have during the event. And it can be you outside arriving at the event, setting up the booth, at the booth. Here you are. And it's personal, and it's engaging, and it's short. Remember, those we'll talk again about how to create those again. But it is the social media can be very, very engaging right here and during the event strategy. What's really useful about that is that during the event, you can also do a geolocation for any advertising you're doing. So you can have geolocated to the area that your trade show is. So if you're in Hanover, for example, or Frankfurt or something like that, you can just advertise to that region, or to a sort of 50-kilometer spread from there about the event, so that people who are already there are getting your message to say, come to my booth. For that, I wanted to add a little one which is kind of like outside our wheelhouse directly, because it's not about the online tools. Networking. Networking is absolutely key. That's what you do in a trade show. Hector talked about the A team. What we're saying is you need a minimum. We say 3 people, but a minimum of 2 people, more like 3. Divide and conquer. And make sure, yes, they are decision makers. They're people who can sign business, but they're really extrovert as well. They've got to be high energy, extrovert people. They're going to go walking up to people and say, hi, let me introduce myself. We've got some great products we want to show you. And they've got to be good partiers. Go to every single party. Again, divide and conquer. Just go to all of them. That's where a lot of the decision happens and takes place at these events. Right. Let's go back now to a landing page. Let's take a look at what a landing page could look like. A landing page, as I said, is really focused on the event itself. It highlights the event. It highlights your authority, your thought leadership on the event. It demonstrates your credibility within your whole sector. It shows you off, really. It's a triumph trophy wall, as it were. But it is not just about you. You're actually addressing real content. You've got value added content on that too, so that anyone coming there says, yes, this is someone who's helpful. This is someone I need to meet. He maybe has a solution to the problem I have. I'm looking for XYZ. It looks like these guys know what they're doing. I want to get in touch with them. And that's the other secret to a really good landing page. Easy to get in touch with. A really light, easy form. A good call to action. How about a WhatsApp number? These are all really good things to make sure that you have on your landing page so that people engage with you particularly well. Right. So that's sort of your landing page. And again, if you want details on that, let me know. Social media. Social media is during the event, and I said, think of yourself as a content creator. As I said, you could post images and photos of yourself setting your booth up, going around where you are, meeting your first clients. Ask the organizers if they want some keynote speakers. Say you have an expertise in it. You say I'm available. I can help in a conference. Again, you probably need to do this well in advance, but be proactive about it. Get yourself up on the stage. These things, as we said, are expensive. Really use the event as much as you can. And with that, remember that the events always have hashtags for your social media. That's important to use it. You use the hashtags of the event. That way you're leveraging all the authority of the trade show organizer. Pretty good. So that's something as well that you want to sort of leverage that hashtag. What would a potential one look like? Well, one other thing I would say, incorporate your QR codes. And I love the way Hector was talking about QR codes. If I were to take a picture of a booth today, like this is actually one of our clients here, if you're busy talking to clients, you still want people who passing by. People pass by these days. They pass by your booth. They're going to be really fast. If you got a QR code, people are used to QR codes now. Take a picture. They have a QR code, or take a picture of it. It works the same way, and that instantly leads to the landing page. And there's a call to action there. There's a form there that says, "Get in touch with us. Here's our diary. We're here to show you." So make sure that your social media is working for you, even when you are busy talking to prospective clients. And one way you can do that, again, is through this video marketing. And that's so important during the trade show. They're really easy to share. They help your engagement. People watch it. It works while you're working with someone else. You can be talking to someone passes by, they see the video. It's a really, really great way of enhancing, optimizing, leveraging your attendance at all of these events. Right? Let's dive now into the kind of videos you want to have. What are the must-have videos that people want these days? There's a whole other, we could talk about videos for a long time if you like, but I just wanted to highlight give you a sort of a top tip, as it were. 3 kinds of videos that we would highlight. These sort of like the big picture videos, which are the brand awareness in a sense. It's all about the mission and who we are, and it's like an action brand video or a how-to video can be about your particular showcasing and highlighting your particular product or service. That really shows off your expertise as a product. And then client testimonial. Again, these are all about engagement, consideration, purchase. A couple of big tips that work in terms of, and by the way, the picture on the right is really a booth for a virtual trade show that we went to and attended ourselves, actually. I think there are various videos that are going on in that one. But I wanted to say a couple of sort of top tips for videos. Make them short, make them personal, make sure there's captions in there. You don't have to have words, you don't have to have music, but captions really help, really help. And optimize them for search engines. You can optimize them with keywords, with tags for YouTube and for your website. So those are some quick tips. I just wanted to show you two examples of websites that some clients have used. Both, these are some websites we've created for them for specific events. Both of those were shot with iPhones, by the way. Really easy, really simple, strong videos that show the companies online. One of them as a fab, as a machine fabricator, and the other one is an agricultural company. I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to skip on to the next slide, which just basically just sort of encourage you, go live during the event. Now that you've said, I am a content creator, go live, do it. Just post, post demos, do presentations, ask for Q&As, go around your booth with a video, invite people who are looking at and walking the show to come in and stop by, and interview them, interview your other sales team. Keep it energetic, focused on you, but keep it live and personal. So live videos act as a tremendous source also of allowing you to say, we are here throughout. Here's our booth, and it is happening right now. So there's an immediacy with the live videos and the live postings on social media, which is fantastic and gets you great audience participation at a trade show. Right. Whew. We have a quick thing about sort of after the curtain falls. And again, I'm going to whiz through this given our timing. Once the trade show is over, a couple of major points. The first really is your CRM. What is a CRM? It's a customer relationship management software. So post-event strategy is harness that CRM. CRMs are things like Salesforce and Hootsuite. So there's lots and lots and lots of different CRMs out there. But managing that CRM is going to be really important for you. The next is to have clear email marketing strategies that reach out to your existing clients. And the third, leveraging content from the event. Right. How about this? I'm going to do a quick poll just to give me a moment. And just to ask also if you'd like to learn a little bit more about our online global programs, which we do for trade shows, also for websites, online marketing as well. If you'd like to learn more about them, what do they entail? Many of them are eligible for STEP grants funding as well. Let us know. We can send you a blog or about it as well. Okay. Right. Thank you very much. That's fantastic. I really appreciate that participation. Thank you. I'm going to stop that and go right into the takeaways, next steps, and Q&A. Just quickly looking at takeaways then. I guess the first takeaway for us is the future of sales. Sales have moved on. You need to have the right kind of digital tools these days to make sure your sales are effective. It is a digital first world. Even though trade shows are face-to-face and in person, it relies on digital tools to make them optimal. The second takeaway I wanted to give was just sort of the outline of a trade show. There's a before, a during, and an after. Each part of that is really important. Don't forget the before and after. Don't only concentrate about the show itself. It won't work unless you do the before and the after for the trade show. We have a ton of research and things you can learn from our website. Our website is IBT.ONL. There's lots of free downloadables there if you have an interest in it. And of course, lucky American companies benefit from U.S. commercial service. It is an amazing, huge task force helping America's exporters. They're there for you. People like Hector spend their lives thinking of how they can help you. And I mean, some of their services cost a little bit of money. Some of them are free. Reach out and make sure that you're engaged with your local U.S. commercial service rep. And if you don't know who that is, they have a good website, or I guess you could always reach out to Hector. He might know for you for that. There's a ton of questions come in. I realize that we're stretching here on the terms of the timing. I promise to answer all your questions by email directly. Hector, a really quick one for you maybe is just a couple of people have asked this. Where can I find all the trade shows that U.S. Commercial Service get involved in? Is there a place on the web where I can find that?
That's um, the answer is yes. um,
Good.
on our website, it's by industry. So if you're in the environmental technology company, then you would go to the environmental page, or energy, and it's divided out that way. There isn't one page where it has all 58 for 2023 as an example. I know they're trying to work on it. We used to have a document, and we're trying to get that back where at least we gave you all the ones in the US, and that way you can kind of see the industries. So there is, and I'll make a note of that and see if I can push that a little bit more, because it would be nice for myself to have it to know all over the world as well.
Okay, great. I've been asked this a couple of times. You will all be getting recordings of this webinar, and if you want the slide deck, let me know, and we can send you the slide deck as well, because you just get the recording of it. A couple of other questions have come in about sort of international trade shows in particular with regard to social media, and really each company is so specific, and each industry is so specific. It's hard to answer as a global answer. But what I can say is, as a general rule, a lot of these international trade shows, if they're in Dubai or Hanover or wherever it is, the core language is English. So you can get away with having, if you don't speak German, if you don't have a, whatever it is, you can get away with an English language landing page on social media. Ideally, if everyone had lots and lots of resources, you would do everything in your buyer's language, in your buyer's, respectful of your local buyer. So, Apple, for example, has about 190 websites, just the websites, let alone the online marketing. But we don't all have Apple's resources. So we have to be selective and make sure that we're really focusing on what brings in the best sales, what brings in the best returns. I am very conscious of time. So as I said, we will be answering your questions by email return. But I wanted to thank Hector in particular for his time and his incredible patience with trade shows. Wow, that's a lot of trade shows to go through. And he's always there for U.S. exporters, for America's exporters. Reach out to the team, reach out to your local rep, and get in touch. They can be such, I mean, as Hector has shown, such a leverage for you at these trade shows. Much of it free, use it, leverage it as much as possible. I also wanted to thank you all very much for attending. Thank you for spending a moment with us, and I hope it had some valuable insights for you. Get in touch if there's anything we can do to help you with your websites or your online marketing. And happy trading, happy exporting. We look forward to seeing you all at trade shows. If you're going to a trade show soon, let us know. Take care. Thank you all very, very much. See you all online and offline at trade shows soon. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Hector. Bye bye.